search for Uhuru. Thank you so much for joining us, as we always do. Let me switch books real quick. This book right here will be more appropriate for what we're talking about. Sales Motivation 101. Drop your butt and cold call. Guys, make sure you go get that classic. Go to dynastymirror.com and grab that classic, everybody. Sales Motivation 101. Get off your butt and cold call, everyone. Once again, everyone, thank you so much for joining. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the content. Again, like, share, and subscribe. It really means a lot. So as you come into this chat room, hit that like button and share with someone. Also, go to dynastymirror.com. While you're there, make sure you get all of your merchandise, everybody, your shirts, your books. Make sure you go support and buy the merchandise. And then Patreon, become a monthly Patreon, everybody. Patreon.com, search for Uhuru. Again, patreon.com, search for Uhuru. The information will be scrolling at the bottom of the ticker right there. And then April 21st to the 30th, we are going to Sierra Leone. So guys, come and join us in beautiful Sierra Leone. Again, come and join us in beautiful Sierra Leone, April 21st to the 30th. We are rolling. In fact, me personally, I will be there next month, but I'm gonna take a number of you all with me April 21st to the 30th. So send me a message if you have any questions about that. Without further ado, we have a special guest on with us today, Mr. Yitshak Abraham. Brother Yitshak.
You like that?
Yeah. Brother Yitshak Abraham. And today's topic is, developing your entrepreneurial skills here in America, and then transitioning and taking those skills and implementing them in Africa. That's today's topic, and we're going to get into what we do as well. For those who are, wanting to have their own, I would say, start their own or be a part of a low-cost entry franchise, dealing in self-development, financial services. We're going to get into that as well. So, Brother Yitshak Abraham, if you could please let everybody know who you are.
All right. Well, my name is Yitshak Abraham, as Dinah so eloquently presented. I come with a background of working in the medical field for over 18 years. I worked as a surgical technologist, orthopedic technologist. I worked primarily orthopedics department for a mass majority of those years, doing a lot of complex surgeries. I worked all around the country, did a lot of travel work. And here's what I found out. Working in the medical field, a lot of people say that the medical field has this great opportunity for growth and advancement. Well, let me be the one to tell you that's not always the case. Here's what I got told from one of the doctors. The patients don't come here to see you. They come here to see me. I'm the doctor. I'm the world-renowned surgeon. When they're looking for someone to help them with their ailments, they think about me. No matter how good you think you are, you're not the person that they're coming to see. So I had to think to myself, and I said, you know what? You might be right about that. So that's what led me on my entrepreneurial journey, to be able to be the person that people come to see. And then that also led me on my journey to find out, why most people today, because before that wasn't the case, but why most people today feel like jobs have security.
People still believe that?
Yeah, you would be amazed. You'd be amazed. The people that I sit down with every day, a lot of people tell me, I can't start an entrepreneurial endeavor because I need secure income. I need a secure paycheck that I know how much money I'm going to make every day. And right. I always ask them the question, how about if I can show you a way to make your yearly income into your monthly income? What would that look like? And you would be surprised the look on a lot of people's face. They look at you like that could never happen. You can never make $30,000 in a month's time, but I'm here to tell you. We make $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 in 1 month's time, in a 30-day period of time. There's people who make $100,000 in 1 week's time. And the reason why that is they're able to, in turn, give more value to the person that they're sitting with. Just imagine, when you go to work every day, how many people are you able to advance their life? let's say you work in a grocery store, or you work in different things, IT.
I got to take notes. Hold on.
Yeah,
Go ahead. You go on.
I think you should. How many people have you advanced their life when they came into contact with you? See, when that doctor said that to me, I could have got upset with what he said, but no, I started doing some introspection, and I started asking myself, how much value am I bringing to people? And here's the important thing that they want, not the value that I believe that I'm bringing, not what I think I'm giving to a person. First, I have to ask them, and I have to do an assessment with them. So I always use the medical field as a reference because I've spent so many years in the medical field. But they have a thing in the emergency room they call triage. So when a person comes into the emergency room, they do a triage. A lot of times people come in with chest pains, and then they say, just give me something because my chest is tight and I think I'm having a heart attack. Well, they're not going to just give you something before they do triage. That triage is an EKG. They put those pads on your chest. They do an EKG to check your rhythm of your heart to make sure that it's not just heartburn. So what kind of triage are you doing for people in your business? How are you assessing their needs? And then two, how are you putting together a roadmap to take them from where they're at currently to get to their goal, whatever it is that they want to be able to attain? So the most important thing in financial services that what we're doing now is we're just creating an opportunity for a person to get a financial needs analysis. So here's the same exact thing. I'll sit down with a client and they'll tell me, I just want this. I just want that. I don't need this financial thing. I just need this. And I'm telling them, well, as your financial doctor, I need to do an assessment of where you're currently at so that I can know what's going to be the necessity or what's going to be your needs. It's all going to come from what you tell me, but I want to make sure that I'm giving you exactly what you need. I want to make sure I'm putting you in the vehicle that's going to get you to your goals and dreams. You'd be amazed how many times I sit down with clients and I ask them, hey, do you currently have this financial product? And they'll say, yeah, I do. And I say, well, what is it? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I'll talk to a person who has a 401k and I'll ask them, hey, how much money did you lose in your 401k over this last month with this coronavirus or these last 8 months since you've been quarantined? And they're like, I don't know. I don't even look at my statements. I figure I lost some money, but I don't look at my statements. But here's one thing I'll tell you. If I give them a financial recommendation, they'll look at that from beginning page to end page, and they'll tell me it's either this or that, and they'll give me an assessment of it, but something that's going to take care of them for the rest of their life, and they're putting assets into, they don't look at it. And here's why I'll tell you they don't. Because it comes out of their check before they see it. So they don't consider that as their money. But it was the money that you worked for, and you put your blood, sweat, and tears into it. It should get you exactly what you need. And that's why it's so important that you should understand the financial products that you put your money into.
Wow. Guys, make sure you hit that like button again. Hit that like button. And guys, if you guys don't know, I've spoke, in fact, Yitshak's been on here on the show before, and I've spoken about Yitshak as well before in the past. Yitshak's the one that convinced me to go to Tanzania in 2011. That's who this is. He convinced me to go to Tanzania in 2011. I was headed to Brazil to do.
Yeah, I was about to say, did you tell him where you were headed?
Yeah,
that was a hard. Trust you guys, that was a hard sell. He was headed to Brazil. So I don't know if any of you guys have ever been to Brazil before. It is a wonderful, wonderful place. It is very pristine. It looks very nice at the tourist areas, but there's parts of Brazil that's like the hood. I don't know if any of you guys ever been to Harlem or ever been to the dirty South.
Well, Harlem's gentrified now. Harlem's gentrified.
I'm dating myself a little bit. The Harlem that I'm talking about is when all of the buildings were burned down. Now my brother has a condo in Harlem right now that's $1.5 million. So yeah, the Harlem of today is not the hood that you might be familiar with, but there are still parts.
Yitshak, let me ask you this. So back when you was in Harlem, back like in the early 90s? Like
the 80s.
80s?
Late 80s,
like those big brownstones, like the 4-story, how much were they going for back then?
About $1. Yeah. Yeah, you heard right. They were going for about $1. Matter of fact, they have programs in the city that you could buy abandoned buildings in the city for they would pretty much give it to you, just so that you can do something to build the building up. So yeah, so all of those people who got the brownstones in Harlem right now, the ones that are $1 million and up, all of those buildings they pretty much got for free. They just put the money in to build them back up to where people can live inside of them. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, they were very inexpensive. And I'm sure there's some areas in Georgia right now that you can do the same exact thing.
Not in Atlanta. It's a wrap. I think as far as those days, it's over. Like, you're not gonna find that. Maybe St. Louis. From my understanding, St. Louis, I think
yeah. Well, Detroit as well. You can find some of those places in Detroit as well.
But not those beautiful brownstones. And Brooklyn as well. Man, those brownstones in Brooklyn and Harlem are beautiful. Yeah,
definitely so. I mean, but the whole thing is, so I like one of the points that you're making, and that ties right into, the different things that we're saying, which is knowledge, So back in the 90s, if I would have known, all of the things that I know now, I would have made different decisions. I would have been able to position myself in better, areas to be able to utilize the information that I had, and I would have made a different outcome till today. So the most important thing is, if you don't know, if you don't have knowledge, knowledge is key. So if you don't have knowledge and then apply that knowledge, that's the other thing. So, you can know what to do, but if you in your mind don't consider the knowledge that you have as creditable, reputable information, applicable information that you can apply and it'll actually work. If you don't feel that, if you don't think in your mind, okay, this thing can actually work, then somebody next door to you can take that same information and they can change their lives forever. But you can have that same exact information, and because you believe it doesn't work, it won't work for you. So I call that the thermometer ideal. So a thermostat. A thermostat controls the heat and temperature or the coolness inside of a room. It changes its outside conditions. Well, a thermometer does not. A thermometer is controlled by its outside condition. So if you take a thermometer and put it in a glass of water, if it's in cold water, the thermometer gauge is going to go down. If it's in hot water, the thermometer gauge is going to go up. We need to stop becoming that thermometer in our lives. And we need to start becoming that thermostat and controlling the things that are happening in our environment. That means I have to be a seeker of information. If I want to know something, right now, the internet, so we talk about dating ourselves again. So when I was growing up, how old are you again, Dennis?
I'm 38.
Yeah, so before I was 38, the internet was at its infancy when I was in my 30s. Before the internet, guess what you had to do? You had to go find information in an encyclopedia.
Right.
And hope that the encyclopedia that you were finding information in is up to date. But today, you have access to all these different outlets. You have access to all this information, and millionaires and billionaires are being garnished every single day. Somebody is winning around you every day. But the difference between the person who's winning and is not is applying the information that they get. You can go on YouTube University and you can learn everything that you need to know about anything that you want to do.
Right.
But if you just read that information and you don't apply it, it's not going to do anything for you.
Right. Now, Yitshak, you were the one that introduced me to Africa as far as traveling there. The entrepreneurial skills that we develop here, what's important about, I would say, developing them here before you attempt to do anything in Africa?
Well, I mean, just simply, you're going to have the resources. Right. You're not going to go over to Africa and say, hey, I want to, there's this electrical school that I want to put together, and I'm going to go over to Africa and I'm going to find all the people that are doing an investment in those things. No, you have to come over and already have the capital and different things that you're going to need to be able to, as you hit the ground, to be able to start different schools and to get things going, to be able to educate people, because hands-on information is one of the most important things. I say, here's the thing, like, so in Tanzania, you're familiar with this.
Right.
They have one main hospital in Arusha.
I went there.
Right. Right. I know you did. So you went there because you didn't listen to me, but that's what information is all about. Because when you took that mountain, I told you, hey man, don't try to take it that fast. And you were like, no, I can do it, man. I'm in shape. I'm in this, I'm in that. And you didn't apply the knowledge. See, this call is so great because we can apply this thing to real life stories. So, going back to Silian, the hospital that's in Arusha. So you already know the ride from Zanzibar, well, not Zanzibar, excuse me. The
Kilimanjaro.
ride from Kilimanjaro is how many hours?
No, it was like an hour. Yeah, it was like an hour.
So it's an hour ride, but you had to come down that mountain in what?
A wheelbarrow.
So you came down the mountain in a wheelbarrow, and then after coming down the mountain in the wheelbarrow, then it was an hour drive. After getting bounced around for like half an hour, 45 minutes, or however long.
But you know what's crazy? This is what I would have said about the mountain. Like, we went up in 3 days.
Yes.
I came down in 30 minutes, 45 minutes.
That's right. But look, it's all perspective. It's all how you take the mountain. You could have just taken the back route and went up to the summit in 30 minutes. But that's not, people don't go there for 30 minutes of a climb. People go there to take that route that they take so that you can get up to the top and you can say, I have an experience.
Right.
Now that experience is something that you can talk about. But if you go up in 30 minutes, that's not going to be a life-changing experience that you're going to talk about for the rest of your life.
What's it? Acclimate
altitude.
to the...
That's right, altitude. And it's different coming down than it is going up.
Literally, I was like, hold on, how did I come down? Because I'm thinking, when they put me in that wheelbarrow, I'm thinking, okay, it's going to take us a day or two. I was down at the base of the mountain 35 minutes. I'm like, hold on.
Yeah. What kind of sorcery is this?
Like, hold on. 3 days to climb up, hit the summit, then come down a wheelbarrow in 40 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. But looking at it, I mean, just taking that into consideration, my goal is to open up a hospital there. Because why go all the way to Arusha when you can open up a hospital closer to the mountain because you have so many people climbing to the summit?
Yeah, I think the city's called Moshi, or is it?
It is Moshi. Right. Yeah. So the most important thing, I think, is to be able to have the wherewithal, the knowledge now, and then B, have the resources to be able to take all of those things that the continent needs and be able to provide those things, because you could just bring the knowledge, but you'll be in the same exact position that you're in America if you don't have the resources.
Repeat that again, what you just said, because Yitshak, this is what I'm noticing in this space, like conversations that we're having.
Yeah,
like people aren't having these conversations before they go permanently.
Sure. You know why?
Why?
It's the same thing like people planning for the inevitable. Their retirement, their death, their whatever. People live in illusion. So, you have people who will close their whole life down here in the United States, and they'll move over to Africa and do not have money. They do not have resources. They haven't even checked where they're going to live. They don't know what's available in the area. They pretty much, somebody told them they went to Ghana and they have the ability for people here in the United States to get their dual citizenship, and they could come over to Ghana.
Which is not true. Which is not
exactly. But what I'm saying is, it's all on assumptions. So people are moving on assumptions, and they're not moving with knowledge, which is, if you're going to plan on moving to Africa and spending the rest of your life in Africa, I'd say you better do a little bit of research. Like, it should be more than a year. And then before you move, I would go spend a month in the place that you're going to go to. Because even all of the research that you do, it's going to be totally different when you actually go move there. So you'll see all kinds of things that didn't pop up with a short trip. So I tell people, take short trips first. So when I go to Tanzania, I spend 3 months, And that gives you a better idea, when you spend some time in the place that you're going to go to. They got rolling blackouts, so sometimes you might need a generator. So people go over there without the resources to be able to get a generator. Then they spend a lot of time in the dark. Their food that they had, it goes bad because they don't have any generator to keep their refrigerator on or their lights on. They don't have enough resources for living expenses. All of these different things people don't do the research on. They just go with the best of intentions, but the best of intentions is not going to get you the outcome that you want.
Right. Guys, hit that like button again as you come to the chat room. Please hit that like button again. Hit that like button as you come to the chat room. Also, too, in about 10 minutes, we'll open up the phone lines. If you guys want to call in and ask a question. Again, if you guys want to call in and ask a question, send me an email or Guru.
Oh, you got the call in now. Well, man.
Well, not necessarily. They just basically what I do. They'll send me an email, and I just email them the StreamYard link, and then they can call in that way. But I don't have like the Mari Povich show where people call in over the 800 number joint. Yeah.
Hey, fantastic. Hey, every advance is a great advance.
There you go.
This is a great advance. Plus, I'd love to be able to hear some of the people, because I'll tell you, I could talk for hours and hours and hours because I have such a great passion for what it is that we do. And I say we, and because we haven't even told everybody, but Dynas is now come in business with me after the couple
of times that we've been in business with you before, but I just now I see
that. I say officially came in business with me because sometimes we're in business, but like I was saying earlier, that visual, like your impression of what it is that you're capable of able to accomplish, sometimes it's not 100%. But sometimes you have to see it through the experience, through the lens of experience, instead of seeing it through just my belief or someone else's belief.
Right, because I think the key is, again, guys, is creating those resources. That's not necessarily creating those resources, but having the resources. Exactly, having the resources. So when we go to Africa, we can contribute and build versus just. There's nothing wrong with living on the land. If you just want to live off the land, that's fine.
Yeah, but you got to purchase the land.
Right, you got to
purchase the land before you can live off of it.
Because I know,
and you have to grow the crops. That's the other thing. So if you want to live off the land, you're going to have a few, depending on what you're growing, you're going to have time in between the time you actually arrive and the time that your crops are growing. So let's take a crop like avocado. Avocado has a 7-year span before you're going to get your crop. So you're going to have to wait 7 cycles before you are even going to get your first thing of avocado. It's like bamboo. Bamboo is like, it takes 5 years before you're even going to see the growth of the bamboo, because it's growing under the ground first. It's getting its root basis so it can sustain the long stalks that come up afterwards. So you just have to understand these things. It takes research. It takes knowledge. You have to know exactly what it is that you have to invest first before you actually move out. So what I would tell people, if you have crops that you want to live off of, you got to know what the time span for those crops are. And then that's the amount of years before you move out that you actually have to start, investing in that land before you even transition over there to move to the land. You have to have it being built up. So now you can be employing people for all that time. They could be building doing all of the work on the land. You got to have a house that you're going to have to live in. So, all of those things have to be done before you even get there.
Right. So, guys, emails in the chat room. Please call in if you guys have any questions. If you guys want to add to the discussion, ask a question, please call in. Email uhuru@searchforuhuru.com, and please hit that like button. So tell people what we do, Yitshak.
Well, I mean, you alluded to it at the very beginning. We help people with business mastery. I think at the end of the day, here's the thing that people don't take into consideration in what we do, even when they come in business with us. We help people with business mastery. You know why that's so vitally important? Because you have to know the statistics on business owning. So entrepreneurs in business, business owners, in the first 2 years in business, 50% of the people who start in business go out of business. So this is a number that you have to have in your mind. And then for the next 3 years, that's 5 years in business. That person now, after 5 years, another 80% of the people who are in business now go out of business. So you're looking at a percentage, about 10% of the people who open a business over a 5-year span of time are still in business after they actually, have been in business for 5 years. So that's a very sparse number. Now you have to look at industry. So what industry is the biggest industry at the time? And how many people in that industry are still in business after they start business? What's the market share of that business? So business mastery is vitally important because now we're teaching you how to be successful in financial services. Not only that, we're showing you what kind of market is the best for financial services, how to be able to educate them. So now the topic is not just business mastery, but now it's financial literacy. We're showing you how to explain to people how finances work, how money works. So we teach people different principles like the rule of 72. It's so vitally important because it's the basis of compound interest. It's what's showing you how money compounds over time. You take 72, you divide whatever interest rate that you're getting back off your money, it shows you how many years it takes for that money to double. So we take a number like 1, very simple, divide 1 into 72, that means it takes you 72 years to double your money once if you put your money in a low interest earning account. Does that sound familiar? The bank. So let's say you put your money in the bank and you expect your money to double over a period of time, and you're not even aware that it's going to take you 72 years to double your money if you put it in the bank, if the bank is giving you 1%, which most banks are not. Some of them are giving 0.25%. So that means it's going to multiply that by 4. You see what I'm saying? So right. At the end of the day, you have to understand, none of us are going to be alive in 250 years. So you don't have right. that time frame to wait. So at the end of the day, business mastery, financial empowerment, and then personal development. Like I was talking about the thermostat and thermometer. If you internally feel, because I've only made $32,000 a year, because I've only made $60,000 a year, because I only made $19,000 a year, I'm only capable of doing that. So, your internal thermostat says, I am a $30,000 a year earner. So it doesn't matter how much money you make. Let's use the example of people who hit the lottery. And they hit the lottery for multi-million dollars. And people say, oh, this person, they made it. They got it made, right? Right. And then you take 3 years later, and that person is broke. The reason why that is because their internal thermostat says that you are not a millionaire. So it doesn't matter how much money I have access to. It just matters what I perceive in my mind, what type of status I have. So if I feel I'm a $30,000 person, you will bring yourself back down to where you believe you need to be at. So you're going to spend that money like no tomorrow, because at the end of the day, the only thing in your mind is, I'm a type of person, I don't have anything. I need things. I got to spend. I got to, I don't need to save. It's not a principle that I'm familiar with. So you're not going to save. You're going to spend. And the money's going to go right back to someone else who feels they deserve it, because they have, like we started off at the beginning, they are solving a problem. They're bringing value to the marketplace. So what do? You go out, you spend your money on something on Amazon, which is at $1 trillion right now. Their market share that they have. So all of these people, they're creating solutions to your problems, which is you don't have enough space in your bank account for that money, so you want to give it back.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm just checking one thing. Let's see. We have a comment in the chat room. Okay, so if you retire in Tanzania, you're still paying U.S. federal taxes and Tanzania taxes as well, which are progressive to 30%. What are your thoughts on that?
That's pretty simple. So you're not paying U.S. taxes if you understand where to put your money at. So that's what I talked about earlier, Don. It's about knowledge.
right.
and about understanding different principles. So that your audience knows, there are places that you can put your money that you do not have to pay taxes on it, because you already paid taxes on your income tax. And those same places, you do not have to report that money as income as well. So every place that you put your money is not a taxable occurrence. So there's so many different places that Uncle Sam allows you to put your money, and I do mean allow, but he only considers your money in 3 different ways: taxable now, tax later, or tax never, or they call it tax advantage. So the tax now box are things that you might be familiar with that are like your savings account, your mutual funds, your stocks and bonds that you've invested money inside of. Guess what? That's taxable. They're going to send you a 1099 on that income. And what's that going to do? That 1099 income that you're going to be paying taxes on, it says the 1099 is an interest on the money that you put in your savings account. You got to pay 1099 on the interest that you make off your money. Also, if you invest in stocks, they're going to send you a 1099 dividends for the dividends that you make off of your money. So you got to pay that every single year regardless. So that's not the best place for your long-term savings. So guess what? Uncle Sam created another place, that tax later box. So why is that so different? Well, at the very beginning, like in your 401k, your 403bs, you put money inside of these accounts and you don't have to pay the taxes at the very beginning. Some people think that's a great opportunity. They think that's a great tax break. I didn't have to pay the taxes on it at the beginning. But guess what? You will have to pay the taxes eventually. And the other guess what is, it might be higher than what you actually would have paid if you would have paid the taxes at the very beginning. We call that the taxing of the penny seed or the $1 million harvest. Imagine if you had some penny seeds of corn. You're taking that corn, you're going to plant that corn inside the ground, and you get $1 million harvest. Would you rather pay the taxes on the corn as a penny seed, or would you rather pay the taxes as $1 million harvest? Most people I want to pay the taxes on the penny seed. You can't do it because now you're going to have to pay it at the end. So now you're really paying the taxes on your $1 million harvest. So what we show people is how to go to that last box, which is tax never or tax advantage box. Why is that so different? Well, there's different things like your Roth IRA. You can put money inside that Roth IRA, but if you make too much money, you can't put money inside of it. Also, there are caps on that Roth IRA. So $6,500 a year. If you're under 50 years old and over 50 years old, you can put $7,000 a year into that account. But guess what? You can't put as much in it as you want to. So it stops you from being able to really benefit from the aspects of that account. At the end of the day, you need a vehicle that's going to be able to give you everything that you need. And that's why we show people there's life-based products, because people are familiar with your grandfather's, that we talk about dating ourselves, talking about your grandfather's insurance, which is, it's a death benefit for someone else. Well, now they have life-based products that allow you to be able to garnish income off of that life product without paying taxes and without having to show Uncle Sam your income that you made for the year.
Okay, here we go. Here's another question. In fact, Robert Charles and Miss Molly. So, guys, there's a link in the chat room. Okay, there's a link in the chat room. All right, guys, I want you to click on that link and send me a message, and you guys can schedule a consultation with me and Yitshak. Or if you want to, just email me. Email me uhuru@searchforuhuru.com, uhuru@searchforuhuru.com, uhuru@searchforuhuru.com.
And don't forget to tell them that is totally complimentary. So you're not going to have to pay for that sit down with us, which is another thing that's different than other companies, because some companies charge their clients upwards of $2,000. So there's a gentleman who's in business with us. He's in the NFL, and his name is Marshall Falk. And Marshall spent $10,000 to do a financial strategy, just to have someone tell him or assess his finances, not to give him a recommendation, not to tell him exactly what to do, just for them to conglomerate his finances together. So some people look at, charging people a lot of money for these services so that they can put their clients into a category, which is, do they have more money available for me to manage? If they do, then I'm going to get a higher commission rate off of those finances. So, you look at all of these things, and financial services, like we looked at before, it wasn't something that was for, the mass majority of people who are on this call. People were not sitting down with us. They were not helping us with our finances. Our community was not a community that they were looking to be able to engage with. They wanted us to come to other communities and spend our money in other neighborhoods and not look to invest in ourselves, not look to build our capital. So financial services wasn't something that we were thinking about until recently. You look at the coronavirus and it exposed our community extremely, because now there's unemployment rates that are skyrocketing, but there's double-digit unemployment rates in the African American community. We have double-digit unemployment rates. Just from the month of March to June, there was 58 million people across the country that applied for unemployment. 58 million people who applied. And a mass majority of those people were African Americans. So,
Rand Bizzle, guys, again, send me an email, huru@searchforhuru.com, or again, my link is in the chat room. All right, and we can schedule a consultation. So Rand Bizzle, please speak on life insurance, please, brothers. I mean, Isha, if you want to speak on it, that's okay. Or if you want,
yeah. I mean, look, here's the most important thing. So just like in anything, there are differences, and life insurance is no different. So a lot of people thought before, I don't want to talk about life insurance because the only person who can benefit from life insurance is my beneficiaries, because I have to die for this life insurance to even being used. Well, that's not the case any longer. So I love using analogies because now you can get a picture. So just imagine the first iPhone that came out.
I had it, 2007, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that first iPhone that came out, guess what? That first iPhone was not the iPhone 12 that's out right now. Two totally different phones. Well, just like the iPhone technology, just like cell phone technology advances, well, insurance technology advanced as well. So at the very beginning, there were term policies. You got a term 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years. And then eventually that term would no longer be enforceable. You would lose that term, or you could keep paying that term and you get a balloon payment. So let's say for 30 years, you were paying $15, $20, $30 for that insurance policy. Year 31, now you went from paying $15 to $1,000, or $15,000 to $5,000 if you kept that policy in force. So what do they say? You can get a new policy, but now you're 30 years older. You might have some health issues. You might have something, you're 30 years older. So that's going to increase the cost. So now they have other things available. So now after that term policy became available, then they had things like whole life that became available. So whole life, it was different than term because now it was for your whole entire life. It could stay in force forever as long as you make your premium payments. But here's what also the additive onto whole life was. You can get some cash value built up inside of that whole life policy. But here's the difference between the next kind that I'm going to tell you about. That whole life policy, everyone in the company, they just put everybody's money together into one bucket, and then you got a small percentage back every year from your growth in that policy. Who benefited from that? The insurance company, because the insurance company put it into the stock market and they got 30, 40, whatever percent back every year off of your money. Or they didn't, but whatever they gained, they gave you none of that because you got just 1% back on it. Then they came up with universal life products, right? Universal life products separated all of those different things The universal life separated all of those different buckets and let you get into a single bucket by yourself. But guess what? You're in a single bucket all by yourself, but you're still not benefiting from that strength of the market. So the last one, the one that's available now, is the index universal life policy. That index universal life allows you to benefit from the upside of the stock market and have a cap off amount that you can benefit from, and then a floor. So when the stock market goes down below that floor, you don't lose any money because it stops you from losing money. So what you have to understand is there's so many different things available to people. So when we talk about life insurance, a person can say, I want a life insurance policy. Oh, I don't need an appointment for that. I know I need life insurance. But the most important thing is, what kind of insurance do you need? What are you trying to accomplish? So I tell my people who want term policies, the space that term policies work great in. Let's say you have a 30-year mortgage on your house and you have a $400,000 home. I'll tell some of my clients, hey, I'll get you a $400,000 policy for your home, right? A life insurance policy for yourself. If anything was to happen to you, your beneficiaries can pay your home off, and then your children, your spouse, none of them would have to be displaced, because the full amount for the home, you could just pay the house off one time. Or an index universal life policy, I tell some of my clients, hey, it might be a great policy for you to get if you want to save for your children for college, if you want to save for retirement funds for yourself. All of these different things are great uses for them. But I can't tell exactly what this person is going to need, because there's no one size fit all for every client. So that's why we sit down and we have those financial needs analysis that we do with our clients, so that we can find out exactly what's right for you. Plus, we market for over 200 different companies. So I don't know what company might be right for you. So I have to find out what you need. And after finding out what you need, I have to in turn put you in the right position, because I want to help my client get what's best for them.
Okay. Let's see here. Let's see what else we got in the chat room. Again, guys, if you guys are interested or want to further the conversation, you can call in, send me an email, hoover@searchforhoover.com. And if you guys are interested in, the opportunity, or you have questions about life insurance or financial, advancement in education and self-development, again, send me an email, hoover@searchforhoover.com or hoover@searchforhoover.com. Because what happens a lot of times, people will say, oh, I'm interested, or I need this, I need that. Yeah. I never hear from you guys. So again, send me an email, is in the chat room, or hoover@searchforhoover.com, and I'll make sure I'll reach out to you, and we can see how we can help you guys. Now,
I'll tell you, at the end of the day, what's so vitally important is, what we do is important, but why we do it, I think, is so much more important. We have a grassroots crusade to be able to help empower people financially, to give them the knowledge that they need to be able to do a few things. One, to empower themselves with information, which in turn makes you better anytime when you know more. The second thing is to allow them to be able to help other people. Because I sit down with some people that's like, oh, I'm good. I have all of my financial things together, I have everything that I need. I don't need anything else. And I ask them, do you know somebody who could utilize some financial information? Do you know someone who can use, some knowledge about how to get out of debt, how to save for their children for college? If you know someone, how about being a financial inviter? Invite someone to find out about the information. If we help them, yeah, you can benefit from it by getting a residual income check that you don't have to work for. So, there's more than one way that we can help people, but at the end of the day, we're helping others. And in turn, the more people that you help, the more help you get for yourself.
So guys, also, let me show you guys my slide as well. Hold on one second. Let me pull this up real quick. So the link is in the chat room to the site. So guys, if you have any questions, this can also be another way to contact me. In fact, I prefer if you guys go to the site and schedule an appointment, or just call me or email me. In fact, send me an email. Let me pull it up real quick. Share the screen. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for the super chats as well. Really means a lot.
Yeah, I see you have a lot of people, because I know a lot of times when we jump on, I see, it's like we'll have 1,000 people, 7,000 people on. And I know a lot of those people have some type of financial question that they want to get an answer to. And that's why I highlighted the fact that we do complimentary financial needs analysis.
Yeah.
There's no financial obligation for you to ask questions. We want you to come and ask questions because when you have the knowledge, you can do better for yourself. So we want people to, go to Dynas's site. It's very interactive. The site itself is very interactive. It has ability for you to be able to call him, schedule an appointment off of the site. It gives you the ability to do so many different things. It has interactive folders. It has brochures that you can read and just challenge your own self, because at the end of the day, you want to be able to put yourself in a better position. You just have to invest in yourself. Investing in yourself is the best outcome.
Yeah, sure. There's a statement in the chat room. One of the major issues amongst Black Americans is trust. I am a financial advisor, and the amount of skepticism is overwhelming. We have to get over this hump in order to move forward.
Yep, that's very true. I mean, we do have a lot of skepticism in our own community, but that stems from, there's been so much distrust that we've had from each other. And we have to be the ushers of change. We can't just think to ourselves, somebody has done something to me in the past, and because somebody did something to me in the past, I'm not going to trust anyone. That just serves as a disadvantage to yourself. It doesn't hurt anyone else, it hurts you. So at the end of the day, you need to search for information that's going to help empower you, and you have to network with other people. I'm not telling you to do business with every Black person just because they're a Black person. I'm telling you to do your due diligence. Treat everybody on an individual basis. And if a person is going to give you information for free, and they're not going to charge you anything for that information, I would take that information every single day.
And just to let you guys know, me and Yitshak, we are licensed. We have our insurance license, health and life. Now I can do fixed annuities. I know Yitshak's a little more advanced. He can do variable annuities. Now, Yitshak, you have your Series
6, yeah,
right.
And the SIE, they have it now. It's called the Securities Industries Essentials Test. Yeah. So
right.
There's other licenses that you get over time. But I'll tell you, there's people in our business and our company's called World Financial Group. And the first 4 years in business, we have a gentleman, him and his wife, Daniel and Linda Fumbo, who are out of Texas, who they're at $1.5 million in income earned, and they've been in our business for 4 years. So, there's no glass ceiling. There's no cap to the income that you can make. This is a $76 trillion industry. And it's fueled majorly by the baby boomers who were born from 1946 to 1964. And there's 73 million of them, and they're retiring right now. So they need information on places to put their money so they don't run out of money, places where they can grow their money in retirement. There's a 200,000 agent deficit, and just in the state of California. And I'll tell you something that's so interesting. Guess what they did in California? They lowered the test score to get your life and health license to a 60.
Shut up. My bad, not to be disrespectful.
Yeah. I tell you, they lowered it to a 60. And you know why? They didn't lower it to a 60 because they had to. They were like, oh man, somebody's twisting their arm. No, they lowered it to a 60 because they were like, this is one of the biggest states. We have this big deficit of financial advisors, people who can help people with their money. We have this, they call it the greatest wealth exchange ever. So that same 73 million baby boomers retiring. So they said, in this day and time, it's necessary to have that score be lowered because we need people with minimum proficiency. I want you to remember that word, minimum proficiency. They don't want people who know all the knowledge, who have all the information. They want people with minimum proficiency because they know to service all of those people who are retiring, this marketplace has to be flooded with new people. The only other time that happened? In the .com era in the 80s. because there were no schools for you to go get, IT information like you're doing right now. There wasn't all of these different schools to do all of this other stuff on computers and all of that information. So what they were doing, they were hiring people from different industries, management, people from computer who had all different types of backgrounds, medical field, people who worked in aerospace, anything, as long as you had so our executive marketing director at our company, Nikki Cannon, she went to school for entertainment. And she was working at monster.com and for an online internet company, a .com company. And she went to school for media. She didn't go to school for any of the stuff that she was showing people when she worked there. But what she did was they had a mentoring program because she had a degree, and she went through the mentoring program. They showed her exactly what needs to be done. She got all the way up to the top. And guess what? She hit that glass ceiling because the person who was in the next position on top of her was going to be the owner's son.
Oh, of course.
Going to get the job. Second in charge commission. She could never go above where she was at. So she was like, I got to do something different. She joined our company, and now she's well over $300,000 a year in income. And the other thing is she just has the ability to spend time with her family.
Right.
Like I'm doing this video right now from my house. I'm in New Mexico, Albuquerque. It's snowing outside. It's got 30-something degree weather. I'm in a nice, cozy, toasty home, and I'm doing mostly 97, 98% of my appointments are done online. So not only can you make a lot of money, you can do it from the comfort of your own home too.
See what else we got here in the chat room. Sorry, no one with minimum proficiency is going to touch my money. Laugh out loud.
Yeah, but you know what's so funny? It's funny that person mentioned that. But guess what? Guess what people don't ask? They don't ask what you scored on your insurance license test.
Right.
When you go to any of those financial providers, you think because they work at Morgan Stanley or any of these other places that they graduated at the top of their class.
Well, Yitshak, let me interject. So here in Georgia, like, it's weird. You have to get 75 or better, but they don't tell you what your score is. They say you pass or you don't pass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's everywhere.
Right.
They don't tell you. All they tell you is what's the minimum, and if you get the minimum, you get a pass. So anything over the minimum, you're gonna get a pass. So you don't even know. You don't even know if you scored 100 on the test. And nobody. I know the person was joking, but I'll tell you, you don't learn the information from the test that you took, so that you know the information. Learning this information, you learn it in the field. You learn it when you sit down with clients. You learn it when you're having that one-on-one engagement with a client. You learn financial services because it's all in the questions. When you know what questions to ask, is the answers that you get back that's going to help you to put that family in the right place, to put them in the right position for themselves, And that only comes by doing appointments. That only comes by sitting down with more families. That only comes by sharing this information and just having more one-on-one interactions. The more interactions you have, the more information you learn. And it becomes applicable information like we were talking about earlier. So not only do you not want somebody who has minimum proficiency, you don't want somebody who doesn't have any field experience. You don't want anyone that hasn't helped someone with their money. You see that book that Dynas has right there next to him? That book says he knows what he's talking about, because to write a book, you have to understand the topic that you're writing on. I knew Dynas before I was in this industry.
You knew Dynas when he was Albert.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. But what's so interesting, as an advancement and knowledge, and I could tell you, even when I saw you then, I knew there was something different about you. I knew you wanted more in your life, and that's why when you told me you were going to Rio or to to Brazil, I gave you an idea of something different, and you took that idea. So I knew there was something different about you because like I shared with you, I told a lot of people to go to Africa. You know, I gave a lot of people, you know, that information, the seed of information for going to Africa and to get the experience. Because I can tell you the reason why I did is I know how I felt when I got off the airplane the first time.
Right.
You know, I went to Egypt and then on my way to Tanzania. And before I got to Tanzania, so I went to Egypt first, I went to Kenya next, and I went to Tanzania. And that was all in the connector flights. And I spent the night in Egypt before I went over to Kenya. I spent the night over in Kenya, and then I went to Arusha. And I can tell you, it was like night and day. When I got off the airplane in Kenya, it was like I was home. That's how I felt.
Right.
You know, because everyone looked like me. You know, I had this kindred spirit, and this guy, I remember it like it was yesterday. I got off the airplane and I went to a little restaurant inside of the airport, get something to eat. And he looked at me, and before I said anything, he was like, "Welcome home, brother." Because he just knew, he was looking at me. He knew I wasn't from there, you know? And I was like, how easy was it for you to tell that I wasn't from here? And he said, I could just look at you and tell that you weren't from here. But it was just, you know, I could think of New York City where I'm from. A person getting off the airplane, they wouldn't get welcomed like that.
No, hell no.
You know, somebody wouldn't welcome them like, hey, welcome to America, you know, welcome to, you know, they wouldn't get that kind of warm welcome. So that told me a lot right there. Then I stayed in Arusha for 2 months, and I just would ride around. I'd go around different places. You know, I remember I went on the bus from Arusha to Dar es Salaam because I was going to go to Zanzibar.
Right.
And I got on the wrong bus. I got on a bus to Moshi, which is in the total opposite direction.
Right.
You know, and here's something that, again, would not have happened here in the United States. I just had this odd feeling. I don't know what it is, but I just knew I was going in the wrong direction. Nobody told me, but I just knew it. And I said, does anybody here speak English? And an Indian guy, not Native American Indian, from India.
Red dot.
He was like, yeah, he's like, yeah, I speak English. I said, is this bus going to Dar es Salaam? And he was like, no, this bus is going to Moshi, which is the other direction. I said, oh, could you tell the bus driver that I'm on the wrong bus and I need to get on a different bus? And he told the bus driver. Not only did the bus driver radio to the bus that's going to Dar es Salaam, they waited with me until the bus from Dar es Salaam came by to pick me up.
Wow.
That would have never I don't care where you're at, United States, they got a schedule. Nobody's waiting. You know, they'll put you off and say, hey, you got to walk 5 miles that way or do whatever you got to do to get to your actual bus. And now you're going to have to pay to get on the other bus to go in the opposite direction, which I did not have to pay to get on the bus going in the opposite direction either.
Well, hold on, Yitshak. So you caught a bus from Arusha to Dar es Salaam?
Yep, I did.
Well, why? Okay, never mind. I was going to say, why didn't you just fly from Arusha to Zanzibar?
The same reason why you take the picky buses when you get to Nigeria, because I wanted to be able to be able to experience it.
Right.
On the airplane,
I'm sure because I went by road from Senegal to Gambia, so you're right.
Yeah. That's how you. But I'll tell you, that's where you get your knowledge from.
Yeah, I went by road from Lomé, Togo to Lagos. So no, I'm sorry, I'm tripping. Yeah,
that's where you get your knowledge from. I mean, you get your experiences that way. I mean, I could have got on an airplane, but I wouldn't have got the experience. You know, like we were talking about the climb on the mountain.
Right.
You could have took the 30-minute would have had a total different experience on a 30-minute route.
Right.
If you would have took the 3-day climb. So it's like, do you want the 3-day experience or do you want the 30-minute experience?
It's going to be the 5-day next time because I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to listen to me the next time. and Toda is not going to have to nurse you back to health.
Right. Yeah, I got to get back to East Africa next year. Guys, if there's no more questions, what we'll do, we'll go ahead and close out. Yitshak, anything you'd like to share in closing?
Yeah, I mean, here's the most important thing. Knowledge is key. Always stay open to information. You know, prepare yourself ahead of time, like we were talking about. If you're going to venture over to Africa, do your due diligence. You know, talk to somebody who's been before you. That's why I'm a big proponent of mentorship. What you learn through mentorship is a person who's done it before you. They can show you how to do it in less time. So if you want to go over to Africa, talk to someone who's actually been to Africa, because it can help you avoid the pitfalls, anything that you might get into that you don't want. And then it can help you navigate so that you have the best trip that you could possibly have. You know, before I went to Africa, I had people waiting for me in all of these different places because I communicated with other people ahead of time, you know, and it cost me less because I had those people waiting for me. I didn't have to pay for a hotel. I didn't have to do all those other things because people were already waiting for me to get there and already engaged to be able to take care of me once I was there. So, you know, it could avoid you pitfalls. It can make your journey cheaper, and it can make your experience so much better. So just be open to information and knowledge, and find a mentor, because at the end of the day, mentors give you knowledge and help you avoid the pitfalls.
Right. And if you guys want to, and the people in the chat room who are interested in furthering the discussion in regards to financial services and what we do, go ahead and send me an email, uhuru@searchforahuru.com, uhuru@searchforahuru.com. Also, the link to my site is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Will be in the description. It is in the chat room as well. So go ahead and message me, and we can get you guys, you know, we can sit down and have a discussion. So
yeah, Don, this is one of the best ones we've done so far.
Right.
I really enjoyed it.
Right. Absolutely. I did too. Yitshak will be back on. You free Wednesday?
Yeah. I'm free on Wednesday.
Okay, so Wednesday. So we'll make sure we'll get Yitshak on.
Same that time. Yeah.
Pacific Coast, Mountain Time, or Pacific Coast time, or we'll figure it out. So everyone, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, family. Dynasty Mirror, Search for Huru. Peace.
Peace.